Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Making 3. And today I'm going to be giving you part 11 of What If Naruto Dreamed to Surpass the Gods. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Taken and Awaken Godly Red Lightning guys, and enjoy that. And also remember, for new and this is the first time hearing my voice, yes, I indeed have 3 channels. I know it might sound crazy, but I indeed do guys. And I post What If on them every single day. Yes, you heard that correct, every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Making family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Links will be down in the description for the other channels, so go ahead and check them out. And also stay in tune guys for the rest of them coming your way. And also turn on the bell notification to see exactly when I post, because seeing that I have 3, a lot of What If every day guys, so yeah, sometimes it get a bit confusing. So without further ado, we leap into this new episode. Begin the intro. So the last spot we left off, Naruto was having a good day. Upon understanding more of his feelings, it got better when he spoke to Gaara. Hearing the life of a Jinchuriki, one that has went through a lot. But it did not only help Naruto though. The words helped Gaara greatly. Yes, they impacted Gaara greatly, as something inside him changed. From the bloodthirsty monster he was, to someone who was more understanding. Tsunade allowed the sad siblings to return home, showing the Sand that, while Konoha was angry, they were reasonable. Seeing the Sand was tricked by Orochimaru, but still, they would not be that easily forgiving. So, with that they allowed them to go back home. As for Naruto, he was coming to understand his thoughts. He finally understood how he felt. What Jiraiya said was true. It seems like he loved Ino, and he wanted to tell her that. However, Ino's mindset was completely different. She felt pressured. Even though she shouldn't be, she felt pressured. As she knew that Naruto would never told her to be something better than she was not, but she felt like she was not good enough. And she couldn't continue with this. She went to the Hokage and asked her if she can be trained underneath her. The girl was, well, rather resourceful, and not to mention, her chakra levels were good enough. And there was another as well, Sakura Haruno. Tsunade saw their reports, as she wanted to take them on as medical ninjutsu students, as she wondered if they could do what Shizune could not do, learn their super strength technique. However, before Naruto could inform Ino, she broke it off with him. She didn't give him a reason, but she told him that she just couldn't do this. He was silent, as she made her way off. As she went home, she cried. Despite her being the one that made this choice, she cried. She cried and cried. At that moment, though, Sasuke had found Naruto. Sasuke was going through a deep conflict as well, as he asked Naruto to fight him, no holding back. However, Naruto was not in the right state of mind. Sasuke woke up in the hospital, as his body felt broken. As much as he got stronger, he was still nowhere close to Naruto's strength, as this confirmed what he had to do. As Naruto apologized, as he went a bit psychotic, he let his emotions slip when he fought Sasuke, and he didn't mean to do so. But Sasuke told him that it was fine, he was one that asked for it. However, Sasuke was far from fine. Naruto asked Tsunade for a mission, as she gave him one. She felt something was off, but she was probably overthinking things. However, when she heard about the report that Sasuke was in the hospital like that, she sent one of Naruto's close, untrue friends, Suke, to back him up on his mission and make sure he didn't do anything stupid. It turns out that things weren't so well with Naruto and Ino, as Suke had found out what was triggering Naruto this way. On the mission, Suke was once again greeted with the cold, emotionless Naruto, the one that butchered his enemy without even thinking, the one that went in and showed his enemy that there was no mercy, no redemption, no other chance to survive. However, Sasuke made his move. As he fled the village, Ino and several others were the ones that were sent after him. Upon arriving there, the match took place between them and the Sound 4, a rather epic, dangerous match. The Konoha ninjas came out rather wounded. At least all of them live. However, Sasuke still fled. When Naruto came back, he tried to feel the beaker on Sasuke. However, the barrel that he was placed in cleansed his body and removed the mark on him. As Naruto once again felt even worse, he had failed his biggest mission, given to him by the third Hokage, to keep Sasuke Uchiha out of danger. But Naruto did warn him if he ever betrayed the village, that he would hunt him down and slaughter him. But still Sasuke left. Jiraiya also came by though, as he wanted to take Naruto on a training trip, to help him where he could not help himself. As Naruto accepted without even thinking about it, he didn't want to be in the village at this moment. He sent around messages to his friends, the one that he came to know. Sakura was one of them who cried as she hugged him. She already lost Sasuke. She told him to come back. She didn't want to lose him too, as he promised that he would. But however, he didn't visit Ino as she was left in the hospital. But she did got a note, hoping that she would be alright. As she didn't know who it was from, no one signed their name. So with that, Naruto and Jiraiya turned. Without even looking back, they left the village. So yeah guys, basically that's what I thought you guys can switch across the playthrough for yourself. And also guys, remember to stay in tune for the rest of what is coming your way. I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. So yeah, without further ado, let's leap into this new episode. Don't waste any more time. It's been 3 years. 3 long years since Sasuke departed from the Hidden Leaf. For every single moment of that departure, Sasuke's mind was on Naruto, thinking that he would suddenly pop up using that technique of his. But he never did, because Sasuke clearly remembered what Naruto said to him when they were training with him, just getting the curse mark. He promised him that if he ever betrayed the village, that he would hunt him down and kill him. Naruto then proceeded to move on like he had said nothing wrong, but that had scared the living shit out of Sasuke, because he was dead serious. He was not joking one bit. So that is why on his departure he wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. Which, luckily, it was able to happen. But even though he was away from the Hidden Leaf, he was able to get several information from Orochimaru's main servant. Her name was Gurren. The girl seemed rather content and pleased with that position that she had. Sasuke didn't care much for her, or even Orochimaru. However, he was able to get information. It turns out that the organization that his brother is a part of, the Akatsuki, are hunting down tail beasts, as a few Konoha shinobi had fell, as they were interrogated by this same organization. It was then, a few weeks later, the rebellion in Kiri was taken at a shocking turn when Naruto Uzumaki, otherwise known as the Red Flash, had stepped on the battlefield and revealed himself to be the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Sasuke didn't know of this, so of course he was shocked. If they want to find out who was the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, he wouldn't allow them to kill Konoha ninjas. If they wanted someone to come after, they should come after him. He wouldn't allow them to destroy his home for getting information. He was the one that had it, and he did not care who knew, as that just put Naruto on a whole different level after the things that he heard about the Kyuubi. So Sasuke had pushed himself beyond far to make sure he was at the level that he was at right now. However, Naruto had moved on the battlefield of Kirin in a red cloak mixed with his Hyrule, giving him a new name, the birth of the Red Flash. The world was tense with such a deterrent right now, powerful enough to stop a siege, powerful enough to make armies cower under his might. Sasuke would be lying if he said a part of him did not fear the prospect of Naruto finding him before he completed his goal of killing Itachi. However, he was goddamn Sasuke Uchiha. He feared no one, but there was always a tiny voice in the back of his head. As he stood in the darkened room, his eyes glistening, showing off his three-totem Sharingan. He will kill Itachi, and no one will stop him. No one, he thought to himself. But before he went after Itachi, there was a few more things that he needed. And not to mention, Orochimaru needed to die. And given how loyal Gurren was, she needed to die as well. Time skip. Jiraiya had been the one to train Minato Namikaze. The man had great mental fortitude. He was focused. He was smart. However, his spawn was something else. Jiraiya had a rough idea how strong Naruto was after he pulled off the Rasen Shuriken. But as the time went by, it only took 6 months. 6 months out of their training trip, and Jiraiya had nothing more to teach Naruto, because the kid soaked up everything like a sponge. Nothing he had left. So he had to bring him to Mount Miyaboku. The kid took his knowledge on Fuinjutsu and took it a step bit further. Maybe it was his Uzumaki heritage. It must be, because he outclassed him in that area in just under a year. It had shocked Jiraiya to his very being. However, throughout all of this, not even once had Naruto spar with him. He told him that he was not ready always, leaving Jiraiya to believe that he was waiting for a particular moment that has yet to come, but still. The kid had learned everything that he had to teach in just under 6 months, which was beyond shocking. So he had no choice but to take him to Mount Miyaboku. And in just a few short months, Naruto had become a sage. He had done something that not even Jiraiya was able to do. He had become a perfect sage. Jiraiya was still not able to fully contain nature energy unless it was at Mount Miyaboku itself, where the flushes, rich source of energy was. However, Naruto had surpassed him in that area. It had come as a shock to Jiraiya. The kid had been able to do something he could not. Jiraiya was certain by that point that Naruto had surpassed him, but yet, he still did not ask for a spar. But Jiraiya did not bug him though. It was then that the rebel forces came to Snady. Upon them coming there, Snady delegated that mission towards Naruto and Jiraiya. It would be a way for him to introduce himself to the world even more, because that is what he wanted. The kid had proceeded to go to Kiri with him, and met up with a few people that he knew, Zabuza and Haku. It turns out that they had returned back to their forces, as Zabuza was gonna make up for his loss, for what he did, running away when he failed to assassinate Mizukage. However, the kid had took the field by storm when he heard that Konoha ninjas were being captured, interrogated by the Akatsuki to find out where the Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki was. So he made a claim, a statement to the world. He had the 9 tails. If one of those Akatsuki bastards wanted, they should come for him. Naruto was no coward, he wasn't hiding, and he was confident in his skills. Jiraiya did not get a chance to speak to him about this before he did it though, and he made the world know his name, Naruto Uzumaki the Red Flash, switching the moniker of the Yellow Flash because of the crimson look that the Flash took. Once he moved in it, he changed it to fit the moniker. At the moment though, Jiraiya walked, Fukazaku on his shoulder. "How long has it been?" said Jiraiya. "Naruto boy, surely something," said Fukazaku. "It has been 1 week now." "1 week?" said Jiraiya in surprise. Often, Naruto made his way back towards Mount Miyaboku when a mission did not come from Konoha. After all, he was still a jonin of the village. "You're telling me he's been like that for a week now?" "Yes." and he hasn't even moved an inch. It's a good thing that he has a fox inside him, and the nature energy is preserving his body. Otherwise, he would be thinning down like a twig. He hasn't gone to the bathroom or anything, Jiraiya asks. Fukasaku shook his head. For a moment I thought that he was sleeping, but... As you said, the child has a mental fortitude, like you've never seen before. So have I. Sometimes I question to myself, if he's even human. He's been able to tap into nature energy like only one in the past have done before, and none of this day and age has been able to do since. With all of his time spent here, his body has become more toad-like even though there is no physical changes. His system, his whole network, is continuous, absorbing and releasing nature energy, has synced his chakra more with the span of nature. This kid has done something that hasn't been done in a millennia. Jiraiya looked towards Naruto with awe. Once again the kid had seemed to just surprise him. He hadn't seen Naruto in 6 months. For the last 6 months Naruto has been here. And now Fukasaku told him that Naruto has been like that for 1 week. Other than eating, training, he has meditated, tapping into sage mode and released it. And now the kid had reached a different state of sage mode. As Jiraiya made his way over there, upon arriving he saw the markings on Naruto's face. There was a circle in his forehead, a red dot on it. There was orange and a mixture of gold around his eyes. His eyes were closed so you could not see his pupils, but the markings ran down his cheek, just like the red markings going down from Jiraiya's eyes. However, Naruto's were glowing yellow and pulsating with pure, natural energy. Jiraiya could feel the changes that was done to Naruto over the past 6 months. And once again the kid seemed like he has gotten even taller once again. Jiraiya was a tall person, he was 6'3". And the last time he saw Naruto, he was 6'1". But judging from where he sat, it just seemed like he got more taller. It was then that his eyes opened up, and Jiraiya saw them. His eyes were a brilliant shade of gold. A sparkling gold color. It seems like they were on fire, like literal sun. As he could literally feel the power oozing from him. All of that vanished within a second. As Naruto slowly got to his feet, you could hear his joints popping, the cracks. As he's been sitting like this for the past week now, keeping his body at complete peace, one with nature. He didn't go to the bathroom, he did not eat, and yet he was completely fine. Jiraiya had a smirk on his face. The kid didn't even smell. As Naruto looked the man directly in the eyes. "It's time," he said. Jiraiya raised an eyebrow. "It's time," he said. "It's time we finally fight." As that seemed to excite Jiraiya a bit, he was looking forward for this. "And would you mind telling me what let you wait this long?" he asked. "I mean, we could have went at it any time." "I had to be sure," said Naruto. "You had to be sure," said Jiraiya. "Sure about what?" "That when I fight you, that your strength will be nothing compared to mine. Your power, your stamina, your speed. That I will be a level far above yours." "So you're saying that you waited until you were far surpassed me to fight me?" "You know, kid, I'm a Sanin, and not to mention, I've been at this a very long time," said Jiraiya. "Don't go pushing your luck." "Are you ready?" said Naruto. "Are you sure that you are? I mean, you've been like that for a while. Don't you think you want to..." The ground cracked underneath Naruto, as Fukasaku gripped onto Jiraiya's shoulder so he wasn't thrown back. As Naruto started to release his power, the atmosphere itself started to change. Several toads made their way towards the located area as they felt the nature chakra and the raw, explosive energy. A giant boom could be heard as Gamabunta made his way over there. Jiraiya swallowed a bit thickly. Maybe he talked too soon. "I said, are you ready?" Naruto asked. "Well, He was never one to back down from a challenge. Meanwhile, at the Hidden Leaf Village, it is not only Naruto that has changed over the past couple of years. Several people have changed. From the disappointed mission where they lost, and they were unable to get Sasuke back, some of them felt rather pathetic. Kiba and several others, as he didn't have the strength necessary to even defeat the Sound 4. Thus they threw themselves into training. Not to mention, Naruto kept on skyrocketing above them, again and again. He was their age, but he outclassed them in every single way. They tried to keep up, they tried to prove that they were there as well, but on the inside they knew that they were nowhere close. He was labeled as a S-rank threat in the bingo book. Flee on sight. No one knew the full capability of his power. That just go to show you what and how powerful he was, that he never really tapped into his full capability without fighting anyone before. Assassins, spies, a lot of them had come over the past couple of years. People that still had a grudge the fourth Hokage wanted Naruto dead, but all of them either end up in a body bag. Some of them, few, very few, managed to escape to tell their tales. And thus the reputation got even thicker and thicker. At the moment though, Tsunade Senju, well, she wasn't doing all that bad. In fact, things has been going good for the village. Naruto work outside the village has been bringing a great reputation to Konoha. And with the Akatsuki now on the move, Kumo had been rather vigilant in hearing them out. The organization was an oddity, as no one exactly knew what they wanted with the tail beasts. That is why she was gonna send Jiraiya and Naruto to Kumo to inform the man, the Raikage. She knew that he could be a stubborn one, but he should know to keep his tail beasts under strict surveillance. She wasn't worried about Naruto. From the reports that Jiraiya had been sending her, and from what she had heard, she wasn't worried, and not to mention Jiraiya was with him. So even if he couldn't cut it out there, she wasn't worried. But Naruto hasn't been the only one that has grown over the past couple of years. Her two students had excelled farther than she thought. Sakura Haruno and Ino Yamanaka. The both of them had made her insanely proud. The girls had put themselves into, well, they had put themselves into it all. They did not hesitate, they did not go back. It didn't matter what she threw at them, they just kept on coming back. And it proved to her that they were worthy of learning. And they were able to break her expectations by learning her super strength technique. The girls were on their way to become the next, well, her. And she couldn't be prouder. However, she knew that Inu had been going through a lot. Every time the situation revolved around Naruto, it became awkward. The others knew by now that her and Naruto were close, but something happened. It seems like she probably told Sakura what is going on, but the others weren't so sure. However, whenever it came up about Naruto and her, well, it became a bit awkward, so no one really talked about it. However, Naruto and Jiraiya should be returning back soon enough after this last mission over. So that meant he was gonna be in the village. Tsunade just hoped that everything would work out fine between them. Time skip. At Mount Miyaboku, the Toads were surprised. For the longest time, Jiraiya had been their #1 champion. After all, he was the only Toad summoner for a very long while. However, as Jiraiya was lying on his back, his body crushed into the earth. His body was 6 feet into the earth. The man lay there motionless. He was in too much pain to even move. Standing on top of the crater that he put him in was Naruto, his eyes looking down towards Jiraiya. There was a few scratches on him, but otherwise he was completely fine. Jiraiya looked up towards the blonde as he winced in pain. Well, he underestimated him, but he took it seriously though, and he got his ass handed to him. And not to mention the kid did not even use a damn Irish in. As Jiraiya coughed up some blood, as Naruto jumped down, Well, I take it that's the reason why you didn't want to fight me until now. You bastard, said Jiraiya. You didn't have to go so hard, you know that, right? You're a Sanin, said Naruto. I had to prove to myself that I was ready for what anyone has to throw at me. Well, I guess you're right. However, I did came here to tell you that Snatty has given us a mission to go to Kumo. But now because of you, we're gonna take a while to go there. We're gonna have to wait until I heal up. I do not see a problem in that. Besides, I'm not in a rush to get back to Konoha. With that, he walked off. Jiraiya sighed as the toads came over to help him up. But he felt bad. Something happened between the kid and Ino Yamanaka. Snatty had sent it in a report. Naruto would not tell him what happened though. He told him that he was fine always. But he told him that there was nothing going on between them. They were just mere, comrades. But the last time the kid spoke of her, he said that he loved her. However, it seems like something had happened. But he wondered if the kid was over it because he had saw Naruto while they were traveling the road with one or two girls from different nations. Not any of the great ones, but from some minor ones. Missions that they completed with Naruto being the savior of said villages. And Naruto spent the night. However, he didn't return back to those villages. Maybe it was just a one-time thing. It made Jiraiya thought of himself as he wondered if Naruto was going to end up in the same boat. He never got with Snatty, the one that he actually loved. And he turned into this. Yeah, he had girls on a regular basis, but they didn't mean anything. It was just a one-night stand, a hookup. He didn't want that for the kid. He deserved happiness. As much as he claimed that he was a self-proclaimed pervert and all that, he wanted love, but the one that he wanted just, well, she was going through too much. She went through too much to ever be with him. And most time he thought about that, it made him sad. And he didn't want that for the kid. Maybe when they return to Konoha, he can try and help out things. Just maybe. Time skip. We are already being watched, said Naruto, as him and Jiraiya made their way up the mountain peak. As the air was getting rather thin, the more they go up. Yeah, I can sense them, said Jiraiya. However, they know that we're coming. I expect them to greet us at the gate. I'm gonna be the one talking to the Raikage. Can I trust you to leave you alone in the village? Do you think I'll do something stupid, Naruto asks? Well, not stupid, but... well, you are worldwide known. I wouldn't be surprised if many of them in Kumo want to take a shot at you to see if you are what the hype lived up to be. Not to mention their father had a lot of run-ins with the Raikage in the past. So yeah, that's a thing. I suppose you're right. But don't worry, I won't break any of them. As Jiraiya looked towards him, you say that, but sometime I worry about your capability of holding back. I saw you try to hold back once before, you remember? When we were in Kiri. And you broke the guy's arms and his legs. Several ribs. You cracked his jaw. You fractured his skull. Yeah, said Naruto, cutting him off. There is more, said Jiraiya, can't continue. As Naruto released a sigh. I will not break anyone. You have my word. Yeah. I hope you take that word to heart. Because it wouldn't look too good if you were to defeat their strongest ninjas. I know right now most people know that you're rather durable and tough, and stronger than most. But they don't have to see that for themselves. After all, it could spark jealousy, and that is not what we need right now, with the Akatsuki lurking. Have you still not gotten information on them? If they wish to hide, we should just find them, and once we do, eradicate them. While I believe that you and I can handle the Akatsuki, there are still more issues to worry about here. The so-called leader of the group. Remember, Naruto, if someone is able to control so much S-rank criminals, they're no doubt powerful. And I know you're strong, but the unknown is what is worrying me. As Jiraiya looked towards Naruto, he saw that the kid was not worried one bit. He was confident in strength. Not to say that he was cocky, but still. Well, that was a good thing. Not to mention, he had a backup. And the Akatsuki had a big problem. They would not try to kill Naruto because they needed 9 tails. However, Naruto seek to eradicate them. Time skip. They finally arrive at the mountain peak. As they arrive towards the gates, Kumo was mostly a militarized village. Most of their civilization was made up of shinobis. That is why as they arrived there at the gates they saw most of the people there waiting for them, and the people passing through there wearing shinobi garb. All eyes turned towards Naruto as him and Jiraiya arrive. Despite Jiraiya having a name, people were mostly focused on the red flash. As Jiraiya and Naruto stood there, Jiraiya-san, the gate guard, said, "The Raikage is expecting you." Naruto noticed it was a girl. She leaned up against the wall. She was looking directly at him, with a smile on her face. Her eyes looked cat-like, as her hair was braided back, with tape wrapped around it. She was wearing a purple suit, with white armor plates. Her nails sharpened and lengthy. If he was not mistaken, she was a Nibe Jinchuriki. Is she? Naruto asked himself. But he wasn't talking to himself though. He heard a loud yawn in his head. "You sleeping once again?" he asked. "What do you want now?" the voice said, as it belonged to none other than the fox. The relationship between them has gotten better, however it wasn't perfect. Still, it had gotten better. "You heard what I said," said Naruto. "Yes, she is the Jinchuriki of Nibe. Now leave me alone." As the fox returned back to sleeping, he was rather grumpy when he was forcefully awakened from his sleep, which he didn't like one bit. Jiraiya turned towards Naruto. "I'm sure that you will enjoy this time to make your way around the village. I'm sure you guys won't have a problem with that. My little apprentice here wants to look around the village." As Naruto said nothing about little or apprentice. "Well, if you want a guide, I'm sure I can show him around." She finally spoke. She stepped towards him. She walked in a way like she was trying to show herself off. Like she was trying to seduce him. But Naruto's eyes looked right through her. As she didn't let that put her down though. As Jiraiya cursed in his mind, why did the brat always get so lucky? And yet he just threw it all away, Jiraiya thought to himself. "Go and have your meeting," said Naruto. "I'm sure that He waited for her name. "Yugito," she said. "A pleasure." "I'm sure that the pleasant Yugito can escort me around," said Naruto. "Well then," said Jiraiya. "Don't do anything I wouldn't do." "Which is not much," said Naruto. "Yeah, I guess you're right." As the perfect sage made his way off, the other Jonin leading him towards the Raikage Tower. As the Kumo Jinchuriki started to walk, as Naruto walked behind her. "So, first time being here," she said. "A rather rhetorical question," said Naruto. "Seeing that I'm guessing that you know who I am." "Well, I just had to see how sharp you are," she said. "And how quick to respond. I mean, I have heard the rumors around. Who hasn't? The Great Red Flash." "So what do you think of our little village here?" she asked. As Naruto glanced around towards the sights. "It's a lot different from Kumo. The air is certainly different. Yes, it's much thinner up here. I hope that's not a problem for you." "No, I'm quite fine." "It seems you are," she said, as he walked behind her. Just a few steps, as she wondered if he was being a perv and looking at her ass. Or was he just walking behind her naturally? As she glanced towards him, his eyes were glancing upwards, not really facing her. As she walked and showed him the sights, he nodded and grunted as he spoke. His attitude was stern and straightforward, and serious as well. "I hope it's not too much trouble, but would you mind allowing me to see the legend for itself, she asks. Well, considering that you've led me to a training ground, I guess I don't really have much choice. Why we always have a choice, she said. It's just more fun if you accept it. I'm sure you wouldn't mind tossing around another Jinjulke as well. Judging by your reaction, you're not surprised. So you already know of me, she said. To an extent. Well, I've heard a lot about you, Naruto Uzumaki, but I've never seen you in action. Why the spectators, he said. As he glanced over to see, there were 3 others there. Oh, those are my friends. I'm sure that you're eager to see you in action as well. Over to the side. So that's the guy, huh? A red-haired girl said. Yeah. Hey, what if him and Yugito start a fight, and one of them accidentally end up killing the other, and it end up starting a war between whack? This is no time for your theories, Amoy, said Karu as she whacked him over the head. So on first impression, without even talking to him, what do you think, Samui? Asked Karui. He seems cool, said Samui, as Naruto's eyes turned towards her. She looked him directly in the eyes. As they held their gaze for a good 5 seconds, neither one of them saying anything, before they broke the gaze. You know, you holding eye contact with someone else, with me being the one that brought you here, it can get someone to be a bit jealous. And when people get jealous, they're ferocious, said Yugito. Oh, I apologize. Your friend over there, she seems rather cool. As Yugito looked towards him, rather surprised. For the reason though, she wouldn't say. But she simply smiled. So how about it? The red flashed, she asked. Would you like to show your stuff right here? I'm sure you've been dying to test another Jinjulke. I for one love to show off my abilities and test myself against stronger opponents. So how about it, she asked. As Naruto walked a few feet away from her. I was expecting this. So I guess I'll oblige you, he said. As he stopped. As she took a good look at what he was wearing. He was wearing a cloak that came right down. The kanji for red flash was on the back. The material seemed thick and sturdy. He was wearing a black shirt underneath. It hugged onto his frame rather nicely. But there was a white cross mix on it. It twisted around his body, like some kind of guard or armor. However, it didn't look like one. But from what she saw up close, it looked rather sturdy. He was wearing black pants, black open-toe boots. His feet seemed light as he walked, he barely made a sound. And he was wearing black gloves on his hand as well. As he put his hands to his side, she smiled to herself. Not one to pass up a challenge, especially one that she started up. Yugito lived for the thrill of fighting someone stronger, and he was on her hit list. His name was quite superb after all. He accepted, said Haru. We're gonna finally get to see the great Red Flash in business. As she was excited to see this match, Yugito was one of the strongest Kunoichi in Kumo. As she wanted to see where she stacks up, as Samui narrowed her gaze. Are you ready, Naruto asked. Her nails extended far beyond what they were a minute ago. She licked her lips hungrily. Yeah, let's go. With that, she was about to take off until Yugito was frightened. It happened in a fifth of a second. For a moment he was just standing there, the next moment he was gone. It seemed to be teleportation, but it was not. Her legs didn't even move off the ground yet. She had the intentions to move. However, her body was just not fast enough. It was then that she felt it. The searing hot pain in her stomach. The group over to the side, it took them a while to realize What the hell just happened? As Yugito's legs lift off the ground, bam! Naruto's fist slammed in her gut, before his other fist slammed in her chest. He grabbed her left hand, as he proceeded to deliver 3 solid punches to her torso. Her body was thrown when he released her. The force of the punch seemed to be picking up with speed, as she crashed. The group eyes widened when they saw that. It all happened so fast. Too fast for even them to react. And it wasn't any teleportation or any Hiroshin. He just moved with pure raw speed. Was this guy even human? The thought flipped in their minds. What the hell? Said Yugito as she wiped the blood away from her mouth. He already got first blood. This one is definitely something, kitten. I don't think that you're gonna win this one. Yugito spat to the side. Was that just pure speed? I think so. But he's incredibly fast. Probably even close to your Raikage. Or might even faster. No, that's impossible. The Raikage is the fastest in the nation. Are you sure? When this child father and your Raikage clash, the yellow flash won. How are you so certain the red flash is not faster? Yugito got to her feet. Well, I'm just getting started, she said. Her speed was nothing to joke at as she moved. She flashed in front of Naruto's arm, ripping through the air as she came down with her claws. However, she saw him do something that stunned her. He stepped back, and he had enough time to twirl. That showed her the depths of his speed was beyond hers. The front of his feet came up when he twirled, and slammed across her face. Before she could hit the ground though, she felt her throat grab, and he picked her up and slammed her in the ground. It cracked under the weight. Before he proceeded to pick her off the ground. 3 hard punches once again as she was launched. She hit the ground in a roll as she spat out more blood. Yugito was startled. This can't be happening. She prided herself on being one of the strongest Kunoichi in Kumo. But yet, it seemed to be nothing compared to this guy. How could he be so much stronger than her for him to be able to outspeed her? Like it was nothing. Like she was nowhere even close. He wasn't even using that goddamn speed technique of his. It was just so baffling. Are we done? He asked. Not even close, she said, tapping into the rage. Her eyes changed color as an ethereal blue came around her. Her speed tripled as she moved. Bam! Their hands clashed. She smirked as she was able to keep up with him now. Bam! Once again, their hands clashed, creating miniature shockwaves to the amount of force they were using. She was surprised that he was tanking her hits. He gripped her hand and yanked her, but she flipped her body using acrobatics, forcing to release her as she dropped on his shoulder. She then twirled around him as she went. She slid right under his legs and came up, as she was about to slash at his stomach. However, his feet came up. Luckily, she moved back from her face being knocked in by his knee, as she flipped and landed, only for him to be in front of her, his hand coming down towards her face, but she dodged in a split second. She then twirled to kick away his legs, but he jumped and brought his leg down. She crossed her arm as his leg made contact. The ground under her exploded, once again startling her, as her hands sting with pressure and pain. He flipped back, as the blue cloak around her was not bothering him. It was then that she noticed he was using the fox power. But she was more shocked because he had such control. He could send the fox power to a specific part of his body, his hands or his legs. He really had such control over the 90th fox. Wait, had he mastered the beast? That would make him at least 10 times more dangerous. But it must be because he was able to send chakra down to the parts of his body specifically. Something that should be impossible without great mastery of the power. How could someone have such forward magnitude and The capacity to think and move and predict so fast in a battle. No one could do something like that. No one's brain is so fast. That was just... No, it's not possible. He had to be holding back the strain, pushing that chakra at a precise area, leaving no trail. Because she just saw it a moment ago. Without even looking keenly, she wouldn't notice. No one could possibly think so fast to do that in the span of a few seconds. That was inhumane. That was not humanly possible. Once again, she wondered, was he even human? The fight started once again as a clash. The others over the other side was baffled. They couldn't keep up with most of what was going on. While they were strong, Yugito was above all of them. So that meant they were nowhere close to the red flash. It was then that Yugito got a knock in as she slashed him across the cheek. He staggered back. As he reached up and touched his face, she watched as he looked at his blood. What? First time getting wounded, she asked. I apologize, but I have to end this fight, he said. Huh? What do you mean, she asked, confused. We're just getting started. I don't want to hurt you, he said to her. That got her angry. I've been trying my best not to, but I have to give you praise. You are a formidable one. So can we stop this? She frowned. And who the hell told you to hold back on me? That's the whole point of fighting someone strong. To feel that rush, to know that the person is able to body you at any time, but yet you still give it your all. So how about it? Let's stop holding back so much, shall we? I'll do the same, she said, as a tail materialized behind her. So, you want to have some real fun, she asked. You promise not to hold it against me, he said to her. Why would I? I mean, it's just a friendly spar. That's the main reason why I brought them here. So they can see that I was the one that accepted this and actually challenged you to do this. Not to mention, they're not the only ones watching. Naruto already sensed the Anvus, but he said nothing about it. They weren't Anvus, they were called bolts. The Raikage bolt force. They were like Anvus though. Alright, said Naruto. Well then, we shall continue, he said to her, as she got herself ready for him to use the higher shin. But he did not pull out any kunais instead. His body seemed to relax, like he was tensed up a moment ago. As he took off the cloak, she watches a strange sea light up on his palm and the cloak was sucked inside. And it was just gone. She said nothing though as she just watched him. As she watched as he sank his feet in the ground. As he cracked his neck to the side. It was then that it happened. He released his chakra. Yugito had to grip herself, as it felt like a mountain had dropped on her shoulders. Samui, Karu, Amoy, they dropped to their knees at the sheer weight and density of chakra that he released. Yugito's body was shaking, but despite the shaking, a grin spread on her face. This was getting so much more excited. The Anvus started to flock to the area like quick work at the Raikage's tower. The two men were currently talking until they felt it. As they turned their head, damn it, said Jiraiya to himself. It seems my student is having a bit too much fun. He promised me, Jiraiya thought. Back to the fight. Yugito steeled herself as another tail emerged behind her. As she went on all fours, her physical form had not transformed yet. She was in a state of complete awareness. However, a bit of steam came from her mouth as she moved, tearing apart the earth. Once she arrived in front of him, she slashed downwards, but he grabbed her wrist before it could hit down. It was then that he proceeded to bring his fist forward, but she tilted her head under it. She then wrapped her body around his arm by flipping over her, using her arm that he held onto as a leverage to pull him down as she slammed her skull into his. He staggered back as she slashed at his chest, but he gripped her wrist once again, stopping her before her nails could reach him. She sent her other hand toward his face, but he ducked underneath it. She cursed. She was left wide open. She brought her knee up as it slammed into his face. She was confused. Why hadn't he moved? She was sure that she hit him. Did her hit not affect him? That was impossible. While she was not giving it her all, as she did not transform. Her hits were quite sturdy. Yet, when he brought his hand down and slapped her leg, her whole body trembled as the force that he hit her with dropped her, allowing him to reach up and grip her by the throat. It was then that the both of them moved. He moved with her. 5 trees in the span of a second. Her body broke through them. The speed that he moved with was abnormal. He then launched her backward. She tried to stop herself, but he appeared. His fist already caught back. She crossed her arms, but when the fist made contact, she heard a snapping sound as she cried out in pain as she bit on her lip to muffle it. Her back slammed into a gigantic boulder, but he appeared and sink her face into it with a punch. The boulder split in half as she was shooted through the next side. Her body slammed into the ground as she looked up. Her eyes widened as he came down. Boom! The entire area was decimated under the force. The group rushed over. Yugito Karu cried out. As they rushed over, that hit was nothing normal. The ground had sunken to 4 feet. 4 feet deep. However, Yugito had a frightened look on her face. Her cloak had receded. Naruto's fist was buried into the ground, straight up to the elbow. Her whole body was trembling. He was using his chakra like the legendary medic of Konoha, Tsunade Senju. He was expanding his chakra towards his fist, and given that he had almost endless reserves, he didn't mind if he wasted it, but he did not because he had such great control. It was crazy. He didn't hit her though. His fist was right beside her face. The ground underneath her broke away as she collapsed into a deeper hole because he had destroyed the structure beneath her. However, he reached down and picked her up in his arms before he jumped back to the top. As he placed her on her feet, a rather kind gesture. "Are you okay?" he said. His tone was neutral and calm, like he hadn't just done all of that with punches. That was just... "Yeah, I'm fine," she said. As the right Kage and Jiraiya arrived, "I guess we went a bit too overboard," said Yugito. She was always getting the problems because, well, she liked to do these stupid things by fighting strong people and test herself. It was her wild cat-like nature. However, as she looked towards the man beside her, he was in a league of his own, and she could tell that he was severely holding back after all. Not once did he use a jutsu or the Hiroshin. That just goes to show that he was leagues above her. She could respect his strength. He was indeed powerful, as they say, and not to mention hot. The voice in her head said, "Well, I can't lie to you there. He is hot," said Yugito. Time skip. "Come on, tell me," said Jiraiya. "Why?" "For you to put me in your book," Naruto asked. "Of course not," said Jiraiya. "I know how much you hate me involving your, well, sex life in my book, so I wouldn't. I'm just curious. I mean, I didn't see you in the 3 days that we were there. What were you doing with the Nebijin Juliki?" "Talking," said Naruto. "You mean to tell me that for the days that we were there, you spent all of that just talking to her?" "I know that she was rather impressed by your strength. You're a strong, powerful person. There is no doubt that she will be happy to spend some more physical time with you." "You mean sparring," said Naruto. Jiraiya eye twitched. "You're doing this on purpose," he said. "Doing what?" Naruto said. "Well, fine. Don't tell me," said Jiraiya. "I'll just make up my own conclusions. After all, which one would you rather be known for?" "I told you to don't put me in your book," said Naruto. Fine, fine, said Jiraiya. I won't put you in my book. As he chuckled to himself. But Naruto said nothing to him though. As they were making their way back towards the village, Jiraiya was sure that something happened between the kid and the Yugito girl. She seemed like a rather wily one, who didn't enjoy having a bit of fun. And sometimes the kid really indulged himself. Either be drinking, having fun, partying. He indulged himself. Jiraiya was glad that he had managed to loosen up for over the couple of years. He was a lot different from the man that he was when he left Konoha. However, now they were going back. As Jiraiya wondered, how much more will he change? As the both of them came to a stop on a steep hill, as they looked down towards the gates of the village. There it is, said Jiraiya. Yeah, home, said Naruto. But guys, leave me in subscribe right here. If you want to see next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to be posted. Remember, share this with all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, remember to stick around for the rest of the what ifs coming your way on Anime King 2 and Anime King 3. Yes, I have 3 channels. I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So stick around for those, and I hope you guys do enjoy. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say? We leap out of this episode. See you guys soon. Peace.